Good evening, everyone. Peace and blessings to you. My name is Reverend Leah Alvarado. I'm with New Thought Northern Colorado Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to the season for Nonviolence. Each day we come together for a total of 64 days to practice a new principle of peace and nonviolence based on the work of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. So glad that you're here today. I want to start today, though, by just taking a moment of silence to honor those who were killed yesterday in Boulder, for the families who are deeply mourning their loss, for the King Soopers employees, for all those impacted by the event that took place yesterday. I just want to take a moment today by beginning with a moment of silence. So we just send much love and healing energy to all those impacted. So today is day 53, and our topic is being mindful. Jon Kabat-Zinn said, "Mindfulness is paying attention to the present moment with intention, while letting go of judgment, as if your life depends on it." Being mindful means to live as fully as we can in the present moment. As a result, we let go of thinking about the past or focusing on the future. We simply pay attention to what is happening right now. As we do this, our mind settles down, thoughts disappear, and the feeling of peace pours in. Yesterday, I talked about having patience and how our fast-paced lives have changed in the past year due to the pandemic. And yet I suspect that many of us still have full and busy lives. It takes practice and intention to slow things down and to move into a state of mindfulness. Mindfulness requires us to pay attention to everything that shows up in the moment, but more as an innocent observer, rather than adding meaning or story to everything, something we love to do as humans. It means that if you're looking at a tree in nature, for example, you're looking and taking in every aspect of the tree, noticing the veins in the leaves, the variation in color, as well as the color, shape, and texture of the bark. You're not adding any story or meaning to what you're noticing. You're just simply noticing and observing. When we do this, everything slows down, including our heart rate and our breathing. Everything around us just stands still. Our past and future has completely vanished in that moment. All we are is we're practicing being in the present. That's all we're doing. And we can just take a deep breath because it feels so good to do this. It's as if we're seeing these things for the first time, because often we don't slow down long enough to even notice what's around us. A wonderful mindfulness meditation is called Vipassana. It's about doing the very thing that I've been describing. You close your eyes, and each thought that comes, each memory that surfaces, you observe it without attaching yourself to it. You just simply observe each thought like leaves on a stream floating by. This type of meditation was taught to prisoners and was filmed in an amazing documentary called The Dhamma Brothers. These prisoners were all in prison for murder. They had committed horrific crimes. When they learned of the meditation, though, they were able to heal much of the pain they were carrying simply by observing the feelings that came up without reacting and without judging themselves. The transformation of many of the prisoners depicted in the film was extraordinary. Mindfulness is a powerful tool we can all use to transform and heal the pain that is within us and to bring more peace into our hearts, our minds, and our bodies. Something that I suspect all of us could use a little more right now. And as we do this for ourselves, we do this for all. So the first question that I have for you today, to what degree am I mindful throughout the day to live as fully as I can? And so when we go through our days, how do we bring mindfulness into our day? Or how can we bring more mindfulness? The next question is, what supports me to stay focused on the present moment rather than the past or the future? It seems like as humans, we spend a lot of energy focusing on the excitement of the future, or maybe it's fear of the future, or it's regrets from the past, or trauma or upset from the past. Rarely are we just right in this moment. And now, having said all of this, I also recognize that there are times in life, like what happened in Boulder yesterday, where if I were to say that to any of the victims, to any of those who ran for their lives out of the store and all that they witnessed and experienced yesterday, if I were to say to them, just go into the present, that would be abusive for me to suggest that or to say that to someone who's just experienced major trauma. So I want to acknowledge that this is an amazing tool, but we need to be mindful about how we use it, because it's not always appropriate in every single case. Sometimes by being in the moment can actually create more trauma, particularly with things like what happened yesterday. But in our lives in general, to be more mindful can actually create more peace in our hearts, more peace in our lives. Wherever you're sitting right now, pick something in your room, in the room that you're in. It could be a picture, it could be the window, looking out at the window, out into your yard or wherever, whatever view you see outside of your window. But pick something to focus on right now. And just slow your breathing down, just with your breath, taking some deep breaths. And allow your eyes to fixate on that thing, whatever that is. Notice the shape. Notice the color. Notice any details that, I'm looking right now at a lampshade. Notice any details that are there. And allow your eyes to just follow the details in that item, whatever it is, just for a few moments. And as you follow the details of that object, notice how your breathing slows down. Notice how your thoughts slow down. Now, if thoughts do come, notice them like that innocent observer. Notice them coming in and then going out, like leaves on a stream, coming in and going out, floating by, not attaching yourself to any of the thoughts, not attaching or creating any story or meaning. Just notice. If this thought comes in, notice it, and bring yourself back to focusing on that object. And now bringing yourself back to the screen, the computer screen that you're facing. So I'm curious if you noticed anything, and if so, to put that in the chat. We only did this for a few moments. You can do this even walking out in nature. You can do a mindfulness hike or walk, taking very slow steps and paying attention to when your foot is picked up and when it comes back down on the ground. Notice the sky, the clouds, anything that's around you, and but do it mindfully. You can do this with eating, chewing each food, each item in a mindful way. And it certainly brings a sense of relaxation and peace. And so I just invite you to play with this as a way of bringing peace in those moments when perhaps you need it a little bit more. Thanks, Dennis. Yeah, go to the breath, go to the body. It's good for centering oneself. And the breath is always a wonderful centering exercise. Tuning into the body, paying attention to the body. I mean, we could focus on anything. We could focus on our hands, our palms. Notice the creases in our hands. And just by doing that, it brings us into the present. It brings us into this moment. Wonderful practice. So let's say our affirmative practice together today. I meditate on being in the present moment. Today I slow down and pay attention to the beauty around me. I release the trappings of my mind and choose to live in the present moment. This is the path to nonviolence. So let's just take a moment once again to go within. Let's use the breath to bring us into this moment, this present time, this present space. Focusing on your belly rising and falling, your chest rising and falling. And if the mind wanders, notice the thoughts without judgment, without assessment. Just notice them. And then gently come back to your breath. There's so much beauty all around us, but we often don't see it because we're focused on a million other things in our lives, the busyness of our lives. But there is so much beauty. And mindfulness practice can support us in seeing that beauty. And what a beautiful gift that we can give to ourselves. And so let's just take a couple of moments of silence as we contemplate this. So gently coming back, taking a deep breath. How wonderful it is to be mindful. Be mindful with our thoughts, be mindful with our words, be mindful with our actions. This is the path truly to peace and nonviolence. Thank you for being with me this evening. Tomorrow is day 54, and we'll be talking about the heart of unity consciousness. Tomorrow night, we're actually going to do this at a different time because I have an appointment to get my first shot of the vaccine. So we're going to be changing the time to 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So make a note of that and join me then. And I look forward to being with you tomorrow night. Have a blessed evening. Look forward to seeing you then. Namaste. Thanks, Janet Ray. Thank you, Dennis, for being here. Yeah, Janet, COVID has slowed me down to be more mindful. Yes. What a gift that has come out of COVID, isn't it? Yes, for many, that is what has happened, and what a gift. Thank you for sharing that. Have a blessed night. Good night, everyone.